Joe's Hamburgers.
Welcome to Vlog Thursday. You wanted us to take you on site? Well, it's not Thursday. It's actually
Tuesday
evening.
But if you round it up, it goes to Thursday.
And we're not posting it till then. So this will be.
If you don't post something till Thursday, did it happen before Thursday?
And we're going to start this. Yeah, did it happen? I don't know. Either way,
philosophy.
While we philosophize over that BS.
Ever quit working?
No. We got to work the camera the whole time.
Never.
They know us. Everyone knows us here. But we're going to take you inside. We'll do a little networking, and then we'll roll into Vlog Thursday. So welcome to Vlog Thursday. I'm going to go say hi to a couple people and show you. This is how we get clients. This is a embodiment of it. Marvin does this little dance thing. We've got a routine. We got a shtick.
It's a shtick, if you will.
It's a shtick, if you will.
We're hitting people with a shtick to get them.
Hit a stick.
Yes.
And by the way, we will probably pick up at least maybe one more client if we have. Here's the problem: almost all these people in here are clients already.
Yeah.
We've been doing this shtick for a little while, but the trick is loud truck. Sorry. The trick is we're not going to talk about technology at all. We don't even bring it up.
No.
We're just going to dance,
Yeah,
and that's how we're going to get people to say, "What the hell are you? What are you guys doing?" Actually, I told a job for LTS Creative, so I kind of did sell something. I'll tell you about it later.
Boom!
Boom!
Nailed it.
Nailed it, and it's going to be something we do on video because the guy loves that, our YouTube channel, to help actually get us this. He's seen our videos, and he had a meeting, and I'll talk to you about this later. We got to wait till the deal's closed before we post it publicly.
And then I will dance some more about it.
Then we'll dance some more. We'll do a happy dance. All right, let's go inside.
All right.
It's not what you get.
What do we do at the chamber? Network, right?
What's that?
Network.
We are networking.
We're networking. This is how we do it. This guy dances.
All right.
Then we talk
Business cards for days.
business cards for days.
We dancing?
They dance together. It's contagious. It's contagious. This is how we get customers. This is what we're explaining. This is how
I feel it in the morning.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah.
We start a little trend here.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn the camera off here, though, because it just gets too loud and inaudible once it gets over there. But wave vibe. All right. So, chamber event is over. And we are well rested, and now I'm sick.
Well,
because that was 2 days ago.
well rested is a relative term.
Yeah, so...
But it was a good time.
It was a good time. Yeah. We danced, other people danced. Then, to make things more fun, we got everyone to join a round of happy birthday because we found out 2 chamber members, including the president of the chamber, who's a friend of ours, and Jessica, who works there. It was their birthdays within a couple days. So we got all the business people singing happy birthday to them. And that's...
that night was actually Jessica's birthday.
Yes.
And Ron's was a couple days before.
And Ron's a couple days before.
She had her little tiara on. And...
Yes. So it was a lot of fun. And this is something, like I have the Sales Videos That Don't Suck video series, and I'm still working on more of and things like that. But this is how we get a lot of customers is you go out there, you have to be friendly. And this is something that you can't do with SEO. You can't do with just putting, you have to have a nice website. These are important things. We talk about that. Matter of fact, we started a company around those ideas called LTS Creative now that we've officially launched. But this is the important part is there's a lot of human interaction when it comes to the B2B side of business. It's marketing is not just about the product, which by the way, there is a product sitting in front of us.
Damn.
We're going to do a review of pretty soon.
Delish.
Hotty, oh hotty. Marketing is about that story you tell around the product, and you tell that story best in person. That's a big thing. That's important that you interact with people because we're all human, and people buy from people they like. We hear a mantra said all the time, but there's a lot to that. You know, I actually got to meet the owner through some other business networking I do with this guy, Hottie. They sent us this, which we already told them we love their hot sauce. They sent us this as a thank you, but we're like, no, we're going to thank you. We're going to do a review and talk about it. We genuinely like the product because I generally don't do a lot of bad reviews because I don't review products I don't like. So that's one of those things. Like if I just know I don't like something, I'm not going to get it just to bash on the product. Right. That's not really my style. So, but that was the Chamber Networking event. Maybe we'll figure out how to do more of those. We have more interviews planned with some of the salespeople out of the Chamber. Recording video there just becomes at some point just an inaudible amount of noise because there's so many people there, so many people talking. But it did lead to one really good lead and another pretty good lead. So, you know, those are going to be followed up on and everything else. And then just a lot of people know us from some of the videos, which is funny because we Stephanie behind us, like, do you guys ever stop working?
Yeah,
at the beginning of the video.
You could hear that
if you couldn't hear what she said, that's what she said. Because we are, and they know a lot of people know us. No, they know we got the camera going, we got the phone going, we're having a lot of fun, and we're doing this for clients, and we're getting people more used to it because it's also weird to them to see sometimes the camera. We're trying to get more people used to it, then we can share more with you because they're nervous at first, and obviously we've talked about being on site with IT is really difficult to do that with. But
people immediately stiffen up when you put a camera in front of them.
Yes. I will jump into, and I made a little bit of notes here. I'm not good with script at all. Script is very bad for me, and I don't like reading from scripts or teleprompters.
He's not good at sharing his notes either, because I have
not
no
good
idea
at
what's
sharing
on
notes.
that list.
Well, there's a reason. There's a strategy there.
Oh, okay.
One is because I want Marvin's real reaction without prepping or thinking about it. Two, I forgot to share them. So,
well, even sending me the list, I probably would be surprised.
Why is this on the list?
Not think about it too much.
I will start out by thanking our Patreon people who mostly I asked each one of them. They seem to be indifferent whether or not I really put it out there. So thank you very much for being a Patreon for people that signed up for that. I think 2 people responded with they absolutely would prefer I did not. And I'm no problem. I absolutely respect privacy and I thank you for the support. So that made me happy to see more people on the Patreon. Every little bit helps. We're building this channel up and building content, which comes back to I have not dumped a ton of videos out there at my rate I was in December. That's because I have a job of running this place occasionally. Marvin reminds me.
In theory.
In theory. Yeah, so I kind of get back with it. Project started in January. I'm good at delegating a lot of stuff, but there's occasionally things I can't delegate. And with year end and all the other things that had to be done with the business, I had to do CEO, businessy, president of the company things. I don't want to do any of them.
He said sadly.
I don't want to do any of them. Yeah, sadly. I've delegated a lot of things. Like, I don't sign checks anymore. Marvin, we got, like, a stamp for all this, and checks are produced and all this.
Yes.
Yeah. I really, because people ask me, like, how much is in the bank account? Like, we've talked about this with other business owners. I'm like, I'm the guy that goes, I don't know, I check once a month. Marvin lets me know if there's a problem.
Yeah, because Marvin checks it every day.
Marvin checks it every day and taps Tom on the shoulder like, you need to get back to work. Your YouTube videos, I know you're loving it, Tom. But by the way,
everybody's
did you see
loving
the bank account?
You know what we all love too? Money.
Yeah. So that is, I won't lie, as an entrepreneur, I'm very focused on a lot of the vision stuff, a lot of the thought stuff, and I love making YouTube videos, and it's so much fun, and I have a friend, Victor, that I'm meeting up with on a whole other idea. So there's this constant things going that don't necessarily have, because I don't think about the revenue first. This is where maybe I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, I am an entrepreneur, so I have a business by the definition of that, but I'm also not someone who tries to look at every scenario and try to figure out how to make money. My scenario starts with, I think that sounds fun. I'm going to go do it.
Let's figure out how to make money at it later.
Yeah, I'll figure out. Maybe there's some way to monetize this. I don't know. We still, for all the stuff we've done with our podcast, we're not really much monetization comes from for all the effort. And there's like 260-something shows and hardly any money because it's like, let's get around and talk about Linux. Now, the cool thing is Microsoft flew us around places, but that's not direct money. That's not paying the bills. But we're all cool with it because we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, also, new camera. Oh, yes. Marvin's excited. So we did buy a studio camera, and that is a...
We'd show it to you, but it's what's recording us right now.
It eliminates... So we're recording on SLRs, and a lot of YouTubers do it. I still think it's a very valid format to record on. Downsides are you have 29-minute record time limits and other challenges because SLRs are something that weren't designed from ground up to do video. They're cameras that do this, that will shoot video. This is a dedicated C100 Canon Mark II studio camera. Now, I've always been just a massive fan of Canon, and you'll find people like, oh, you didn't try this camera, that camera, and they overthink it. Canon has amazing color science, a focus system that is outstanding, and a lens kit system that is amazing. The series of Canon lenses, it's nice that I can just drop my Canon lenses on here. It's just a little bit of learning. I may do some my own tutorials on this camera because I didn't find a lot of them, but I still think it's a very, very valid camera. No, it doesn't shoot 4K, and I'm fine with that because you don't really want to see the pores in my nose. It's not pretty.
You don't want to see us in 4K.
Yeah, so the 4K stuff is not really something that gets me all excited. My GoPro can shoot 4K. My phone can shoot 4K for when I need certain things in 4K, but I mostly don't need things in 4K, not for a lot of what we're doing. Especially like the new video series we're working on for a client with LTS Creative. It's all shot in 1080, and the majority of it's going to end up as a series of Facebook and Instagram video clips that get broken down and spread out over time as part of the project. You know what they don't care about? 4K. So it's not something it's not the critical thing. And the next jump from this, I mean, this camera's $4,000 without a lens. The next step up to get 4K, I think is like $9,000 in the Canon line of cameras. It's something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was a lot more than I wanted to spend.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a consideration when we're getting it, and it's just like, it's important to have good studio stuff because we want to do more long form things, and this gives us an opportunity. I do public speaking events, and I want to record them, and you have 29-minute record limits on SLRs.
Yeah.
I talk a lot more than 29 minutes.
He does.
My college talks that I do when I was speaking at University of Michigan, which I need to message them again about some stuff, but generally those are an hour and a half talks that are very interactive. I don't mind miking myself up and having an interaction with people and recording this. Maybe there's some value in documenting some of those videos and throwing them into a second channel of, hey, if you ever want to watch this again, that way I can give the content back to them. When I do these talks, people ask, oh, do you have a recording of the whole content so I can watch it again, or for people that missed it? So that's...
We could call it Lawrence Tech University. Oh, wait.
No,
Dang
don't.
it.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a college with that name already. Now, a lot of you, I was in the forums and I asked the question of what you want to see. A lot of people want some business stuff. We're trying to decide. Now, do you want more business stuff on here? And I'm going to jump in a couple of business topics where, do you want to hear some of my personal ramblings and thoughts I have on business and things like that? And we did the video the other day, sitting at a table, and we have discussions. The hard part of just jumping in, I like what Michael Stelzner did with Social Media Examiner with his journey.show. I watched some of that, and he gives a lot of his journey for doing it. But things you can't really cover, especially in ours, is when we're discussing client details for stuff. I mean, it's like we'd just be dumping all of our client information of how we're doing it. All right, we got a XYZ manufacturing company. We got to move them to this server, and I don't know. See, his journey is different because he's talking about how he's getting more sales through that, and we can talk about some of the sales cycle. But I can't easily publish like, oh yeah, this is the proposal and this is how he worked out the proposal. Now, I am going to do some videos on like bidding and things like that, and maybe those are the videos you're looking for, is how I come up with pricing. And I say it confidently, and I say we're going to give it this price. And Marvin, will you make money if I sell it at this price? That's sometimes how the whole process goes.
Yeah. And then I say, you need to ask me these questions before giving the proposal.
Yeah, that's true too. So, yeah, there's that. So that's there's so much of it where I want you to realize that I have run a business for 15 years, so there is a certain level of confidence comes with it, but there's not some people, like when you're an employee, you're like, well, they seem so confident. I close the door and I'm like, man, these people believe me sometimes.
Do anything with confidence and people will buy it. That's just how it is.
I mean, you just kind of have to call it a gut feeling, call it whatever you want. There's obviously a lot of background knowledge. I worked in IT for 22 years, had a business for 15 years. So yes, I have some experience that drives those decisions, and documenting how I come up with some of those is not always as easy. It's like, I don't know, I just know that we should charge this much and things like that. We look at the numbers in the back end. I do, when I say I look at a bank account once a month, it's because I do a monthly P&L, profit and loss statement for the company. And it also means I have to go over and review all of the transactions for the month. And looking at them in summary like that means I focus heavily on them for several hours. Once a month, I focus on all the numbers, and I can look and take it 1 month at a time. Because looking at it at the tiniest portion of a day-to-day operation would be really hard. You're not getting the right picture. So 12 times a year and then an annual summary makes it easier for me to understand the money and decisions we make. So I can look at decisions we make from month to month and say, overall, was there trends? I can't say, I'm going to buy ads on Facebook this week, and I need to know next week if there's a return on that investment. You have to look at it over time. Mm-hmm. And people do that. They panic all the time trying to think that there's a shorter cycle to it. Some of our sales cycles are really long. I mean, my sales cycle is from the time you meet the client to the time you actually do the job. There's so many touch points in between where you had to follow up with them, had to, we did the proposal. Which one did we do that took forever before they replied and we're like, out of the blue, they're like, oh, yeah, you got the bid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, that was back over the summer.
Yeah, there's a couple of them like that. We'd almost like forgotten about it. We had our usual follow-up emails, no replies, and all of a sudden they're like, so can you start in 2 weeks on this big job and project?
We're like,
wow, yeah, well, thank you.
We can.
We absolutely can. We will get you in the schedule here.
Haven't heard from you since May, but yeah, sure, we can do it in July. Why not?
Yeah. So that does happen a lot. So sometimes those payoffs can really hurt you. You get aggravated. You invest so much time in the clients, and then you just don't hear from them. They just vanish. You're some proposal on a piece of paper somewhere. We think we don't know.
Sure.
And
well, we get it too. I mean, a lot of these, especially if it's a wiring job, like they're building things out, right? So we and they are often at the mercy of some other contractor.
Yeah.
So, you know, they when they contacted us, they may have thought they were ready for us to do wiring, and then something changed or whatever, and, you know, no, we're not ready yet. So
restaurants are very much like that. We've had some of the restaurant projects take a really long time to get cameras in because they just have every factor in between. So they have to deal with building inspectors, health inspectors, liquor licenses, and everything else. So some of those we just kind of expect if it's a new building and they don't have occupancy yet, it's going to be some trouble. So, yeah. We fought hard to get this building, and we still had about 30 days of occupancy issues to sort out with the city to get timing. Yeah. And it took a lot of persistence on my part of calling and scheduling. And they actually make you not schedule with the city. They make me schedule with the individual people involved in my inspection. Like, I had to call the fire department directly. I'm like, so I pay the city all the money for it, but then I got to call each inspector and schedule. I'm like, just show up all at once. Well, it doesn't work that way, sir. I'm like, well, it really should work that way. Like,
it should.
If you want me to be in an unoccupied building all day waiting for them, and they're like Comcast, they give you these ranges. The downside is cities are monopolies.
Yeah,
I can't call a different inspector.
Right. You're going to call a different fire department?
Yeah, I can't call a different fire department scheduling. And then they're like, oh, the one guy's on vacation. I'm like, there's only one guy, so buildings cannot be opened in the city while the one guy is on vacation.
Right. Well, I will just take my business to Riverview then.
Yeah, just go, I'm going to get a building in a different city then. That's not on vacation that week. There's a lot of ridiculousness that we know goes into building and planning. So those ones really have some. We're like, look, I've opened a couple buildings, several over the years that I've worked on projects of other businesses, and we know.
We get it.
We get it. We're like, city problems? Yeah.
Yeah, right, especially.
I feel you here.
Yeah.
So other things we're doing, though, is begrudgingly, I am expanding our service area a little bit because we do so much work remotely. And this is where, as an IT person, I've really done. I have a video called Keeping All My Clients Within 30 Miles, which is exactly what we keep doing. But it is what it is. We've expanded up our service here because we do so much work remotely. And it's going to force me at some point. I've been looking for ways to have techs in other areas. This is kind of the way Michigan is laid out. We're not in a rich area. Happens to be where I live. Happens to be where I'm anchored. And going to the rich area is very expensive. And rich by me, medium income averages and things like that, because we're heavy manufacturing, and we talked about heavy manufacturing clients last week. Being heavy manufacturing, they're not technology dependent, so they look for always the minimum way. They look for the minimum amount of technology they can buy just to accomplish the things they need to accomplish. Versus when you get to higher tech companies or engineering companies, and there's a few of them, and we have them as clients down here, but there's very few of them down here. Versus there's a ton of them about an hour and a half north of here. We have a hotbed of technology. We refer to the area as Automation Alley. You can look that up, and it's really interesting. It's all the high tech engineering companies, and technology is crucial to their business, so they don't have a problem buying the premium services for that. The other companies are just minimum. The company we're doing for is the manufacturing one is still not completed. They're getting computers for the first time in 2018. They really have a 12-year-old computer that just prints checks and a couple invoices.
Yeah.
One singular with no backup that they've just been happy hasn't failed. They don't really think about any of this stuff, and we're putting in 2 new computers, which is a massive change for them. And now they're upset with us. Not really upset with us, just miscommunication, because we got them computers and screens, and they're like, "Where's the printers?" I'm like, "Well, you said you want a new computer, so we got them." Well, we want a new printers too. Okay. Well, then we get laser printers for them, which is normally what people like. They want dot matrix printers because they like the dot matrix tractor feed. So now we have the challenge of we're working with a QuickBooks company that's doing their QuickBooks support of how to find the right printer, making sure it's completely compatible with both Windows 10 and QuickBooks. And these are challenges we didn't expect to have.
We think we found them, though. We think we got it. But yeah, it was the miscommunication was frustrating. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
and it's one of those things.
It happens.
We don't think about this. People know what they want in general, and we put in stuff, and they usually we're like, "Go get your laser printers." When you said printers, no, you didn't say dot matrix. To them, they don't know the difference. And I guess we don't think to explain the difference between a dot matrix printer and a laser printer, but these are things we do. And I'm not making fun of the client. They literally have a very successful company. I've known the owners and some of the things they do. They're charitable people. They're great people. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. They're very successful. This is also the weird part about Gen River is how many business owners. Like I like one customer. I've been to his house to fix his kid's computer, and I'd asked the question. I'm like, "Which yacht is yours?" And it said both, because there was 2 yachts. They live on the water, and there's no technology in their house. None. These beautiful big. They don't use it. The owner of the company.
Spend all their time out on their yachts.
Yeah, they spend time on their yachts, and it's really an interesting thing. I mean, we get so focused on all the technology, and the guy doesn't have a smartphone. He's like, I don't have a need for it, and he runs a very, very big company that does have computers and technology in it, but they aren't dependent on it as much. Their graphics design people are for some what they do, but it's really interesting dynamic because they're such a big company that employees have. They probably have 200 employees. I won't say the name of the company, but but technology is such a secondary thought to them. It's not core to their business. They're able to. Oh man, I'm gonna guess their revenues have to be in the 50 million based on their 2 locations they have easily, and if not more. It's just amazing. They're a cool client as a flagship to say we have them as a client, and we list our clients on there. We just won't talk specifics about what we're doing for all of them unless we get permission. But it's amazing. I mean, the technology is such a secondary thought for them.
Yeah, it really is. And when you deal with things like that, like this other client we were talking about, they, like Tom said, this other client, it's the first time they've gotten new computers in the millennium, possibly?
Yeah.
And so, they said we need new computers. Well, to them, that meant computer, screen, printer. Like, to them, that meant the whole package. Well, it's kind of a different language thing sometimes. They said computers, we got you a computer,
They also had a hard time understanding why we couldn't do the QuickBooks support.
Right.
Because we are not QuickBooks experts. They wanted to be trained. They had a ledger problem with their old QuickBooks. They needed it. Old QuickBooks, it turns out it wasn't QuickBooks. It was Peachtree.
Yeah, well.
So, but they go, well, you're all just computer people. And I broke it down. I use analogies. Because they do a specific piece of industry as a component of a larger industry. And I said, well, you guys only fix this part. You don't fix the other part related to this industry. And they're like, well, that's a good point. But we don't see that as different with you. It's just all technology.
Just computer guys.
And you guys need to tell us this and be more clear about it. I'm like, I guess, because physically you see the industrial thing you do, but yeah. Like I said, the technology is not part of their life at all.
Yeah.
So,
and technically this was brokered by the middleman. So
that's another thing too.
It wasn't a direct thing. We we were contacted to provide these things like by a middleman. So
who's helping them out with their financials. So it all started with an accountant, an accounting firm helping them, and then contracting us. So it's a whole. There's a lot to this project. It's not as easy of direct sale.
You wouldn't think putting two new computers would have been such a. There's such a project,
On our side, there's a lot of billable hours so far. So because this is all time and materials clients. They're not going to go for any managed services. They're not into paying recurring things related to technology. No.
We remind you that they needed dot matrix printers.
Yes, dot matrix printers
for to print carbon copies.
Yep. Also, nothing's as critical to them, and they don't really use the internet. Shocker, right? So they're not really worried about viruses because the internet's not a necessary thing for them. They had to get the internet on the other computer because you have to activate QuickBooks and back it up, but not because they needed to use anything. And they mostly prefer to print all their checks for their clients. So, but we'll get into more business talking stuff. We'll do more of that. I definitely. There's specific topics, so I can get started on those topics. I have no problem listening to suggestions. If not, I'll come up with them. I know some of the bidding stuff people want to know, and I've done one on cable bidding, and there's so many people that have convoluted or complicated ways to do it. We've always broken it down to very, very simple, and I think what I'm going to actually do is to show how crazy simple some of our stuff is. I'm literally going to show you invoices we did for jobs that were $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and you're like, Tom, it's a page. Yes, it is. There's a reason for that. The client understands what we're doing. We understand. We have a detailed scope of work if needed. And this client didn't. It was like putting in 300 drops and mounting 20 TVs or whatever for the wiring. That's it. There does not need to be, I don't need to tell them what screws I use. And we've seen the person bidding against it created this multi-page crazy proposal. The client's going, I don't know, you're charging me for each mud ring and wall plate. Like, they break down everything to the component level. And hand them every little detail. Now, if they ask us what we're using, we absolutely are open about that, and we will list that to them. But why would you just try to convolute it like that? And it's something about bidding. It may be a $30,000 invoice, but it does not need to be multiple pages unless the client really requests detail. And as a business owner, I don't want the detail. Like the snowplow guy. This is Tom's. They're like, I did a push on this day, and they started detailing out all the pounds of salt they laid, and I'm like, how much is it? And he's like, oh, like $80 because we share it within the strip mall. And I'm like, here's 80. Here you go. You don't. I said. I see salt. I see it done. I said, I'm going to get back to work. I mean, thank you. And if I was concerned about the price that I paid for my snowplow removal, I would. And $80 is not a substantial, in terms of business. I'm like, $80 is $80 to someone, and to me personally, but to the size of the company, $80 to get our parking lot clear is not the thing I should focus on, because I'm focusing on if it kept me from sending a large wiring bid or a large proposal to a client over $80, these are the rational decisions you have to stop and go. And I see some business owners get so hung up on that stupid stuff like that. They are so like,
yeah, you're charging me this much? How much salt did you throw down?
Oh my gosh. So I had a business partner in one of my ventures briefly. I may just do a show about that. I may even bring him on the show. He is legit crazy and angry and just nuts. And I didn't know any of this. He started as a silent partner of me transitioning out, buying out the business, and turned into, he's crazy. I won't lie. I'll say it to him. There's so many stories I have of this things that went on that I was like, what? Like, this isn't rational ways for humans to behave. Although it was entertaining.
That's the important thing.
That's the important part. I watched him lose his mind over Jeff not asking. We told Jeff he could get coffee. He was one of the staff at the time at that company. And Jeff went and got coffee and didn't write a note that he bought 50 cents worth of coffee. Now, we said he could go get it, but he had to write the note that he took 50 cents out of the drawer. Like, we knew he took it. We told him to go do it. He comes back and doesn't write the note, and he loses his mind. Ronnie loses his mind over the guy and just is like so angry, screaming. Like, it became, he wants to lecture for 10 minutes. I'm like, there's really everything. Jeff said he was doing it. I'm sure he would have wrote the note later. But those are the kind of weird things that people get hung up on, of all these little piddly things of this and that. And it doesn't matter. Like, it's whatever. It's a couple bucks. You move on. I've had staff, and I'm not happy when something gets broke that may cost me money or whatever. But the other side of it is I don't dwell on it all day. You move on it. You're like, did you do it on purpose? No, it was a mistake. All right, that mistake cost us like this much money, whatever we accidentally broke, whatever it was. This, especially when I had the electronics repair company, this was a bigger issue because you would accidentally damage a small circuit while you're putting it in. And these are delicate electronics. And I knew it was a complete mistake. It did cost me like $20 for the little circuit thing that broke, but whatever. I said, we talk about it. We're not going to do it again, right? All right, cool. Ronnie's screaming, we're taking it out of your paycheck. God damn it, you broke this. That's $20 out of my mouth, and blah, 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 blah. And then, I mean, he would just lose his mind over things occasionally. You're just like, and I see some business owners like that, and they're just so focused on every little penny, and they end up sometimes out of business. They're not looking at the big picture all the time and being calm and rational, and yeah. So,
penny wise, pound foolish.
If I can help someone who's starting a business learn to that, because even myself, years later, and I was a insane over hours working person. I still kind of am obsessive, but I do know when to quit. It's when all the links on Reddit are purple and I'm looking at memes. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I at work? Productivity has reached a new low.
Shut the light off and get out of here.
It's time to get out. And it doesn't. You just kind of have to reach it at some point. You're not being effective. That's the important part.
Yeah.
We'll leave you with this. What time are we at?
Well, we've been talking for like 25 minutes.
Okay.
Plus the initial video.
So
this is a long one today.
This is a long one today. That's why we get the new camera. So we'll leave you with this, because talk about productivity coming down to a crash. I'm gonna put this picture up. And what picture would be right here, Marvin?
I'm not sure.
I'm positive you will laugh.
Okay.
So this is and we talked about this yesterday. This is when Tom reached at the end of production. I'm leaving it up here so you guys can stare at this photo. There's a Mexican restaurant.
Oh, that one.
This is where this is all about business working with what you have. So, and I don't know the name of the restaurant. This is on Reddit. I'll leave a link below because the discussion only gets better. And
You know what we would name it.
yes. Pendejos. This is a Mexican restaurant that took over an out-of-business Chinese restaurant. And instead of redecorating, they put sombreros on pandas, which makes me so happy.
They replaced their bamboo sticks with tacos.
And they put, the bamboo sticks are now tacos, and they drew little mustaches on them. And one of them, what's the little thing they play? I can't remember the name of that.
Well,
it's not a ukulele, but it's...
it looks like a ukulele, but I think it has a different...
It's a different phrase for it. But either way, this is how business works sometimes. You work with what you have. You're like, look, we're moving a Mexican restaurant into a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And we don't have money for a mural, so we're going to paint sombreros on pandas.
And they did a great job.
They're great. That's why I like this photo so
like
much.
it fits.
And it just brought me joy. And it also was the point when I realized I'm not being productive, because I don't feel good even now, and I was really not feeling great last night when I sent that to everyone. I'm like, I'm done being productive, but I want you guys all to laugh with me here. This is our distraction for the day. It's the end of the day. It was like 6 o'clock, and then I was like, I'm done for the day. But sombreros on pandas made me smile.
Wonderful.
Hopefully it makes you smile too.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching. Like,
ya.
subscribe, all that fun stuff. And let me know what you think of Business Talks. And if there's some specific topics, so don't worry if you come up with nothing. I come up with something.
That's true.
I just...
See ya.
Damn.